Hey everyone, welcome back. Ready to jump into another deep dive with me.
Always excited to explore something new.
Today, we're going to get into something that's been generating a lot of buzz.
Definitely a hot topic.
We're talking about quantum computing. I feel like it's this, I don't know, mysterious thing with a ton of potential, but to be honest, I'm not sure I totally get it.
Well, you're definitely not alone there.
So that's what we're here to do today, right?
Yeah.
Demystify it a little bit.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a fascinating field, and it really is about to change a lot of things.
Okay, so for those of us who don't have a PhD in physics, what is quantum computing? How is it different from the computer I'm using right now to record this?
Okay, so imagine this. Your computer operates on bits, which are like tiny switches.
On or off?
Exactly, 1 or 0. But a quantum computer, it uses qubits.
Qubits, okay.
Now, here's the crazy part. Qubits can be 1 and 0 at the same time.
Wait, what? How is that even possible?
It's a mind-bending concept called superposition, and it's what gives quantum computers their power. Think about it. They can handle massive amounts of data in ways that traditional computers just can't.
Okay, so we're not talking about just a faster computer. We're talking a whole different way of processing information.
Exactly. And that difference opens up incredible possibilities, like solving problems that would take regular computers millions of years. Literally millions.
Okay, I'm starting to get why people are so excited. But what does all this power actually translate to, in the real world?
Well, imagine developing life-saving drugs with, pinpoint accuracy.
Oh.
Or maybe simulating financial markets to predict, anything. We could even crack the codes that protect our most sensitive data.
Okay, so some pretty major advancements in medicine, finance, cybersecurity, even energy.
Absolutely. Quantum computing could revolutionize pretty much every field. I mean, we're just scratching the surface here.
So much potential, right? Okay, let's shift gears a bit and talk about the companies racing to make this potential a reality. Who are the big players in quantum computing right now?
Well, we have to start with the tech giants, of course. Google, Amazon, Microsoft, they're all investing heavily, but each one has a different strategy.
I'm curious about Google. What's their game plan in this quantum race?
Google is doing something pretty ambitious. They developed their own quantum computer called Willow. And they're not just building the hardware, they're also developing the software and tools needed to use it.
So they're going for the whole ecosystem.
Exactly. They want to be the leaders in both quantum computing advancements and the infrastructure that supports it.
That's a bold move. Now, what about Amazon? What are they up to in the quantum world?
Amazon's strategy is a little more unexpected. They've been putting a lot of resources into nuclear energy research.
Nuclear energy. How does that relate to quantum computing?
Well, think about it. Quantum computers are incredibly delicate. And one of the big challenges is figuring out how to scale them up and make them, commercially viable.
Right, make them practical to actually use.
Amazon's betting that advancements in nuclear energy could be the answer. It could be the solution to some of those scaling and commercialization problems, potentially revolutionizing both fields at the same time.
So they're looking for solutions in unexpected places. I like that. All right, let's talk about Microsoft. What's their angle in this quantum game?
Microsoft is laser-focused on finance.
Ah, so Wall Street.
Yeah. They're betting that quantum computing can completely revolutionize how financial markets work. Think of algorithms that can analyze market data in real time, predict risks, optimize portfolios.
That sounds like it could be a game changer for sure.
It's a huge market, and Microsoft's positioning themselves to be the leaders in quantum-powered finance.
So we've got Google building the ecosystem,
Yeah.
Amazon exploring the unexpected link with nuclear energy, and Microsoft zeroing in on the financial sector. Are there any other contenders we should have on our radar?
Absolutely. There's one more player we need to talk about, and they might be the dark horse in this race.
Okay, I'm intrigued. Who is it?
Intel.
Intel. I mean, I know them for their computer chips, but
Right.
what makes them a contender in the quantum world?
Yeah, they're known for chips, but they also have something else that's critical in this race: manufacturing power.
You mean actually making this stuff?
Exactly. They're leaders in making the wafers and semiconductors that are absolutely essential for building quantum computers.
Ah, so they control a key part of the supply chain.
And they're actually doubling down on US-based production.
So they're in a really strategic position no matter who ends up winning this race.
Exactly. And it's worth noting that their stock is trading pretty low right now. So for investors willing to bet on their long-term potential, it could be a really interesting opportunity.
High risk, high reward.
Potentially, yeah.
Okay, so we've got four major players on the board, each with their own unique strategy. This is all incredibly interesting, but I know our listeners are probably thinking, okay, that's cool and all, but what does this actually mean for me?
That's the big question, isn't it? Quantum computing is going to affect all of us, whether we realize it or not.
I can see that. So it's not just about the tech, it's about like how it changes everything, right?
Exactly. And for those who are interested in investing, this understanding can give them a real edge.
Okay, I like where you're going with this. So we talked about those big players, Google, Amazon, Microsoft, Intel. For our listeners who are actually thinking about investing in this space, what should they be looking for? What's important here?
Well, remember, quantum computing is still early days. It's like the Wild West out there.
It's a high risk.
High risk, high reward, exactly. It's not about picking a guaranteed winner. It's about understanding the landscape. Evaluating the approaches, figuring out your risk tolerance.
Okay, that makes sense. So let's break it down a bit. Google, they're going all in on building the whole quantum ecosystem. What are the pros and cons there?
The upside is huge. I mean, they could become the dominant force. If they can build the best computers, A&D, the best software, well, they're in a very powerful position.
But that's a big if, right? What are the risks?
It's a huge undertaking, developing both hardware and software. That takes massive investment, a lot of expertise in very specific areas, and there's no guarantee they'll succeed at both.
Right, right. Now, Amazon's strategy is really interesting. That whole connection they're exploring between quantum computing and nuclear energy. It's bold, but is it realistic?
Definitely a long-term play. I mean, the challenges in both fields are substantial, but if they can find solutions that benefit both, that payoff could be enormous.
Okay, so higher risk, but potentially much higher reward. What about Microsoft? They're taking a more focused approach, right? Targeting the financial sector. Is that a safer bet?
It's different, yeah. The financial sector is ripe for disruption, and quantum computing could be the key. If Microsoft develops the right solutions that give those financial institutions an edge, they stand to gain a lot.
Finding a niche and owning it.
Mm.
Got it. And our dark horse, Intel. What are their prospects?
Intel's strength is their manufacturing. As the demand for quantum computers grows, their expertise in making the parts, it's going to make them very valuable.
So essential to the whole industry, no matter who comes out on top.
Exactly.
Okay, so much to consider. Four very different companies, each with their own strengths and weaknesses. Before we send everyone rushing off to invest their life savings, any final advice?
Do your research. This isn't about jumping on the bandwagon. You really need to understand the technology, the companies, and the risks involved.
Solid advice. What else?
Patience. This is a long game. We're in the very early stages of the quantum computing revolution.
Oh, get-rich-quick schemes here.
Exactly. And lastly, only invest what you can afford to lose.
Words to live by. Okay, so we've talked about investment strategies, but quantum computing has implications way beyond that.
Oh, yeah, huge implications. Let's talk about cybersecurity, for example.
That's one area where I've heard quantum computing could be both a good thing and a bad thing.
It's true. Think about the encryption we use today to protect our data. RSA, for example. It relies on mathematical problems that are incredibly hard for traditional computers to solve.
But not for quantum computers.
A powerful enough quantum computer could crack those codes in no time.
So our online banking, our emails, medical records, that could all be vulnerable.
It's a possibility, but, and this is the interesting part, the same quantum principles that could break codes, we can also use those to create new, even stronger encryption.
So it's like an arms race. The code breakers and the code makers.
Exactly. And whoever wins has massive implications for cybersecurity in the quantum age.
A little scary, to be honest. But hey, let's not dwell on that. What about the potential for good? Quantum computing's impact on artificial intelligence, for example.
Now there's something really exciting. Imagine AI that's not just faster, but fundamentally more intelligent, capable of solving problems that are impossible for us today.
What kind of problems are we talking about?
Developing new drugs, creating personalized medicine, designing systems that can fight climate change.
Wow, so some pretty big problems. Quantum computing could actually help us tackle some of humanity's biggest challenges.
It has that potential, for sure. But remember, technology is a double-edged sword.
Meaning it can be used for good or bad.
Exactly. Quantum computing could lead to breakthroughs in medicine or energy, but it could also be used for, let's say, less noble purposes.
Powerful weapons.
Unfortunately, yes,
So it's
sir.
not just the technology itself, it's how we choose to use it.
That's the key. And that brings us to the ethical considerations. It's essential that we have serious conversations about its potential impact on society and make sure it's used responsibly.
I agree. We can't just get caught up in the possibilities without considering the downsides. Okay. So in this segment, we've gone from investment strategies to the potential impact on cybersecurity, AI, even the ethical dilemmas.
And we've only just scratched the surface. There's so much more to explore.
It's pretty mind-boggling to think about all the possibilities.
Yeah, it really is.
But it's clear quantum computing is going to change things in a big way.
It's a whole new era. Exciting and maybe a little bit scary.
Let's talk about those what-if scenarios. The ones that make quantum computing so fascinating. What kind of breakthroughs could really change the game?
Okay, imagine being able to simulate how molecules behave, like with incredible precision.
So we're talking about designing new drugs, new materials.
At the atomic level, we could create materials that are lighter, stronger. Imagine drugs that target specific diseases without any side effects.
That sounds like science fiction. But it's becoming real, right?
It is, and it's not just about materials and medicine. Think about simulating complex biological processes like photosynthesis.
Photosynthesis, like plants use.
Exactly. We could unlock the secrets of how nature captures energy, converts it.
And use that knowledge to create new forms of clean energy.
It's possible. Quantum computing could be the key to solving some of our biggest challenges. Climate change, resource scarcity, you name it.
That's a lot of potential. I've also heard that quantum computing could even, change how we understand the universe itself. Is that true?
It's definitely a possibility. Think about simulating the formation of galaxies, the behavior of black holes, even the Big Bang.
Whoa. We could unravel some of the deepest mysteries of the universe.
Quantum computing could give us a whole new understanding of physics, of our place in the cosmos.
It's both exciting and, I don't know, a little overwhelming.
It is. And as with any powerful technology, there are ethical considerations.
We touched on cybersecurity, but what are some other challenges we need to be thinking about?
Well, one big concern is job displacement. As quantum computers become more powerful, they could automate a lot of tasks that humans do now.
So job losses.
Potentially, yeah. And we need to prepare for that.
Okay, so that's one thing. Anything else?
Another issue is bias. Just like any AI system, quantum computers are only as good as the data they're trained on.
So if the data is biased, the results will be too.
Exactly, and that can have serious consequences. We need to ensure that these tools are used fairly.
It's a reminder that technology is just a tool. It's up to us to use it responsibly.
Couldn't agree more.
Well, I think we've covered a lot of ground in this deep dive.
We have. It's been a great discussion.
From the basics of quantum computing to the potential impacts on investment, cybersecurity, AI, even the universe itself.
And the ethical dilemmas.
I think the key takeaway here is that quantum computing isn't just some futuristic fantasy. It's happening now. And it has the potential to change our world in some incredible ways.
We're at the beginning of something truly transformative.
So much potential. And with that, I think we've reached the end of our deep dive.
I hope everyone listening learned something new today.
Keep those minds curious. Keep exploring. Thanks for joining us on the deep dive.